Well, hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer Crowley, and I'm co-founder of the Life Care Management Institute. I'm also here with Shanna Huber, my co-founder and partner at the Institute. Hi, Shanna.
Hi.
And we have some special guests that we want to introduce next. And let's go ahead and get started. We'd like to introduce the RNegade team. And I hope I want to know like how to really powerfully say that name of your organization. So
me too.
So anyway, with us, we have Antra Boyd, Dave Perry, and Karen DiMarco. And so, hi, everyone. And I'd love for you guys to just take us a few seconds here and just let everyone know, what your role is and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I'll go last.
Okay.
I'll go first. My name is Antra Boyd. I am a registered nurse. I own a company in Portland, Oregon called Connected Care Patient Advocates. It's an concierge advocacy business. And Karen DiMarco just happens to be my best friend. And as she will probably tell you, or maybe not now, we always wanted to do something together. And we were so tired of continuing education for nurses. It's like literally, ready, Karen? Poke your eyes out. It's terrible. And so we just wanted to mix it up and do something new where nurses were excited to learn. I mean, we talk about lifelong learning and intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and it's in all the nursing research, and yet we don't practice what we preach. We slug through continuing education to check a box. So my role in the organization is I'm a co-owner.
Oh gosh, that is really an understatement description of what you do.
Dave, you're up.
I'll go next. My name's Dave Perry. I'm a registered nurse as well. My background's in emergency room, EMS, that whole world. And I currently work as a operations manager for a mobile vascular access group up here in the Northeast, serving Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. I found the RNegade team about a year ago. I'd actually been looking into pushing some education out into the continuing education world through another platform. And it took me like 4 months for them to even recognize me. And I kept emailing and they finally got back to me and they had this very structured, regimented, boring layout. And it also was not very enticing. And so I kind of kissed that goodbye. And at the same time, I managed to stumble across a LinkedIn post with, I believe, Antra talking about RNegade. And I emailed her or messaged her on LinkedIn on the spot. And I'm like, I want to join you guys. So that was about a year ago. Fast forward to now, I run the kind of content creator side. So I oversee the submissions from content creators. I pay a lot of attention to our accreditation standards as far as the California Board of Nursing and making sure that everything kind of syncs up with that. And then a lot of other stuff kind of as needed. That's all.
Yeah, Dave's nickname in the bio is the Swiss Army knife, and he has like definitely lived up to that.
Yeah.
I like that nickname. I want that nickname.
Yeah, it's like
I know, I got a house mom.
It is the literal jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah. Well, you're like the XL Magnum XYPDQ99 big fat version of the. Dave's just one of those people that, yeah, I can do that.
Well, and then I got house mom, but Karen probably wins for titles in our bios.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I often say that if it weren't for having a team to do things for me and to keep the squirrel in the cage, I would just be strung out in a gutter somewhere muttering ideas at passersby. Because I'm constantly ideas person, and that's, the idea for RNegade came on a hike listening to a podcast, and it's like, why are we? Because the people who gravitate to us are pathologically curious, autodidacts, hungry for learning, and yet every 2 years we have to go pick through a pile of crap, and it was like, this is insulting. And it's like, I woke up to it. Wait a minute, I'm doing like 30 CE worth of stuff every 2 weeks. Like, this doesn't make sense. But because of the way my brain works, my title is Commodore Crazy Pants.
Commodore Crazy Pants.
Yeah, I guess the official title would be creative director and co-founder or whatever. But and that's pretty much, that's all my bio says. I wrote everybody else's bio, and mine just says Commodore Crazy Pants.
It's really exciting to be here with you all, and you've done a tremendous job. And Shanna and I are going to have to get busy coming up with our own names of what we really do in our business.
I'll help you. I love coming up with names.
I'm a little scared maybe to have. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I just want to read. So I'm going to read what a description of the RNegade is, because I think it's pretty fun, and it kind of defines a little bit about what you guys are all like and what you're doing. And it's just amazing, like cutting edge continuing education system for nurses, right? RNegade is about disrupting continuing nursing education by making it feel lazy with content that edu-tains, enhances skills, ignites potential, cultivates self-determination and happiness, and inspires hope for the future through the artistry of common sense. And so I just love that. And when you guys think about how far you've come already and what you've done, it's pretty impressive, right? You give yourself a round of applause. So
yeah, and you guys too. I mean, you guys have known about us since we started this thing, you know?
Yeah, time flies. So I think I'll go ahead and let Shanna go ahead to the next question, because you did tell us already a little bit about what made you guys start RNegade. But I mean, before she goes on to the next question, is there anything else you want to add about like the whole foundation of how RNegade got started? Anything, or you want to go on?
We'll just let it flow, because
okay, all right, we'll go ahead and let Shanna
between
the
three of us, I'm afraid if we start, then there won't be any questions asked. So
well, thanks for making and continuing education so fun and allowing us to participate in your online classroom throughout our shared content. And we're fortunate to have 2 classes with RNegade, which is what is life care management and the benefits of becoming a care manager. So we're excited about having those classes on your site. And I was just wondering, what is your forecast for the online learning environment?
Well, so our forecast is that we're going to be the new standard, I would say. I mean, like, you know, and curating content like yours. We always say, you know, we're blowing up the boxes that the rest of the world is still trying to think outside of. And you know, there has been a push in continuing education for people to do things differently, but it's like they're still in the box. I mean, saying that you're trying to think outside the box is basically admitting that you're still in the box and trying to think as if you're not. But just it's like what you guys use the artistry of common sense for what you do too. Like, why are we doing it this way? It doesn't work. Well, most of the time you're doing it that way because that's the way we've always done it. You know, and it just doesn't work, especially with continuing education. It's frankly, it's an insult. It's an insult to our curiosity and our precious time and our intrinsic motivation to learn. And why not create ways, not even create, I would say curate ways to learn that we're naturally inclined to do anyway. So it doesn't feel like it feels natural. It feels lazy. It's like effortless productivity, you know, to do it. And I hope that once people experience RNegade and the way we do things and the way you do things, that just becomes the standard, because why not? It just makes common sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think a lot of nurses are really interested in what you're doing, not only for a fresh approach for obtaining required education, but as an example of the tremendous ways nurses can grow and expand into different exciting areas of practice. So what advice do you guys have for nurses that are pursuing entrepreneurship and innovative ideas on how they want to develop?
Dave, you want to go?
Sure. My advice would be to don't take anyone's advice, I guess, if I had to sum it up. Do what makes you happy and figure out how to get there. We all have to have day jobs to some degree, and you know, I would love for to look back 10 years from now and be like, wow, this was the moment where everything kind of changed. Because I don't think that nurses in general like to be categorized so much, and they don't want to be prescribed this education that they don't that doesn't really do anything for them. And if a nurse wants to become an entrepreneur, they can kind of choose any path that they take. And I think when I gave you guys a little bit of feedback for your content, I was like, holy crap, like these guys are doing stuff that I never would have thought of outside the hospital setting. And that's exactly the kind of people that gravitate towards the RNegade, or that we gravitate towards as well, because you guys were like, no, whatever the normal is, that doesn't work for us. We're going to do it our own way. And that's, I think, how like all 5 of us here, obviously being nurses, have found each other. And I guess if there is one piece of advice, is to go out and look, because you go on LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm not great at the Instagrams and stuff like that, but just LinkedIn, you can find so many people, so many nurses who have forged their own way and done it really, really well. And they've fallen on their faces a couple times too, but that's just part of the game. So
I would take it one step further and say, go out there, find out what's out there, and then just jump. Like, we don't have to know everything. We don't have to be business savvy. It helps when there's someone like Dave or, a team member that does have some of that background, but we can figure it out. That's what nurses do. We figure stuff out. We multitask, we problem solve. Like, it's just part of our capability as a nurse. So I would say jump. And there's, I think nurses tend to get afraid. We're in our silos. We're comfortable where we are. I remember like thinking, oh my gosh, there's something outside of the walls of an operating room. You're kidding me, right? And I just was like, whatever, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to jump. So,
yeah, sometimes you just got to jump all in. And, it's interesting because 2020 was actually the year of the nurse. I don't know if you remember that. And it was a horrible timing because that's the pandemic year, right?
Is that from the Chinese astrological calendar?
I know.
Well. So anyway, I'd like to refer to this as the decade of the nurse. There's an evolution happening, and the nurses' eyes are being opened, and so it's going to be interesting times. But you can probably tell we love, like you said, Dave, we love being around other nurses who are change makers. We're innovators. We're maybe a little bolder than most. We've learned how to overcome our fear of failure and kind of move into that next level. We don't always make superstar fans in the process of developing something that moves beyond normal expectations, or seems to question what is normal or how everything's been done. A lot of people don't like doing things that aren't familiar to them, and it scares them. And so anyway.
That's why you two are Mavericks.
Right.
That's why you two are Mavericks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you for that. And then yeah, I like that term too.
Oh yeah, maybe instead of case manager, case maverick.
Oh yeah.
Case Maverick.
But you know what? This is like it's a lot of I know how hard you guys are working. We know that you all have these other practices, this discipline that you're doing your own work to make your living, and you're developing this amazing platform, or you did, and you're growing it. And so it takes a lot to do that. And so, how do you guys, I want to ask, just because we're always learning from each other, and some of it isn't just the business stuff. It's like, how do we make sure that we can stay focused on the mission, and how do you take care of yourself so you can show up strong at the next go around or the next hour and do it, or when you have those days that aren't maybe like, oh, you'd call a win, you can, move on from it. Do you guys want to have any parting advice for that? Everybody does.
I was recently reminded, as a matter of fact, it's my hypothesis that all burnout can be attributed to forcing yourself to do stuff you don't want to do, in some way, shape, or form. And I think talking about the way it's always been done, I hate the term work-life balance. If you're doing something you love, and you put only, what is it, Derek Silver's, this thing, you make this a priority, you don't need to balance anything, because it's like when you're doing something that you're specifically adept for, that you're kind of made for, and you know what that is, and you have the courage to say, no, I'm not doing that, because then it feels like work. Then you not only can work a 16-hour day and have more energy at the end, but then your energy then you're happy and it overflows onto your family. And for me, it's even makes my soup taste better. But you have to be really careful about the way it's always been done, conventional wisdom, because I think that's actually what kills a lot of things. And if you don't want to do things, because they say, they say that, bootstrapping a startup and doing all that, you're going to have to do things you don't want to do. Well, my favorite question is that true? And I'm not saying I'm good at it. Actually, I got very burnt out recently because I was just trying to cram everything in. And I was just reminded again, and that's one of our core values of our company is enjoy your work. And if we can't delegate it, like I tried to do Antra's job. She was out for a little while and I tried to fill her very big shoes, and I could not do Dave's job, but people couldn't come up with the shizzle I come up with and how I see that, it's know your strengths, operate from your strengths, and productivity feels effortless. It's like 20% effort, 80% result when you make that a priority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the other thing that goes along with what she's saying is, Karen and I came up with the word freel because we're not crazy about the word authentic. So freel is the F word plus real equals freel. And it is this idea that like, you have to know yourself, and not only know yourself, but like the most important relationship you can ever have is with yourself. Right. And when you honor that, like, then it just comes out of you. I think that's when it becomes easier to say no to something you don't want to do, and easier to, have a conversation you don't want to have because you're freel. And that's part of the, the core values at RNegade is, our expectation is that everybody is freel. And sometimes it's sticky, but yeah. I think it is an outside the box way to be. And it does, we've found our company several times. We get stuck in that this is the way it's always been done without even really seeing it. And then somebody wakes up and says something or does something.
Yeah, this doesn't feel good.
Yeah. I'm about to have a breakdown.
Yeah, and it's actually, thanks. I love what you said, Antra, because it reminded me, it's not just being like, I'm not doing anything I don't want to do. It's your responsibility to not do things that you don't want to do. And the reason I say that is because I'm really high in compassion and people pleasing, and I want to do everything for everybody else. But the problem with that is I will overpromise and underdeliver. I have to know I'm not organized. I do not have great executive function, whatever. And when I try to take on things, I'm going to let everybody else down. I'm not going to get stuff done on time. I'm going to get distracted by sparkly objects. You have to know that is not your wheelhouse, and stay out of it, or you're going to let people down. And because there's like a friction in your nervous system. It's like when you go to lunch with somebody you really don't want to go to lunch with and you're hoping they cancel. Like if you have that feeling in you about something you're being asked to do, that's not your job.
And it makes you freel for recognizing it and owning it. Do you got anything to add to that, Dave?
Yeah, Dave, let's hear from you because I want to know what you do for like taking care of yourself. You've got a big, big job titles and things, it sounds like.
Boy, Dave, we just saw Dave, we forced Dave to do
Swiss
something.
Army
I don't think he really wanted
pretty big.
An entire quarter.
I guess when it comes down to it, I'll do this in two parts. One, you got to recharge your batteries no matter what. Like you have to do what makes you get up in the morning and make every day fun. I got 2 kids, got an awesome wife. We get outside as much as we can. We live in rural Vermont now, and there's a ton of stuff to do. But whatever the battery recharge is that you need in your life, you got to make sure to do that. I'm guilty of ignoring that sometimes, and I've done it over the years and learned my lesson. The other thing is you have to find that the thing that really makes you want to do what you do. I appreciate Karen saying she doesn't like the work-life balance thing. I'm a little more pragmatic. I say, you do need to have a work-life balance in my world, but if the work is something that you enjoy, and for me, it's typically problem solving. Like I'm not great in front of the camera. I'm not great at I can come up with tons of ideas, but I like to take something and be like, how do we do this? How do we figure this out? Or this thing's really, really broken. This process is really, really broken. How do we make this better? I spent 3.5 years as an educator in ER doing exactly that. And I loved it. In my current job, I get to do a ton of it. And so if you find a job where it plays into your strengths, being problem solving, being leading, being whatever the case may be, then that's going to recharge your battery too, in a way that kind of keeps you self-fulfilled even through the other crap, because no job's perfect. Let's be perfectly honest. There's never going to be a job that is 100% magical all the way through it. There's always going to be ups and downs and things that you are more preferred versus less preferred. But if it all kind of balances out and the teeter totter is a little bit more shifted towards, something that you really enjoy, then you're doing pretty well. But nurses, especially with the pandemic, because I lived a horrendous pandemic experience for 3.5 years in a hospital that really got crushed a couple different times, and burnout was all over the place. You got to find the way to recharge, or else you'll just never, be able to come back to the profession.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but we're always searching for 100% magic. We're gonna, we'd
Sure.
like one day to look
A
back and
hundo would
say,
be
"Whoa,
perfect.
we made
Totally.
it true."
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. Well, great advice from all of you. And Shanna, I don't know if you have anything to add on what
No, I think that's great. I think that's great advice. And like in business, we all have to, people think you're doing 100% of what you love 100% of the time. And I agree with you, do what's in your wheelhouse, do what you like to do. In the beginning, you might have to do some things you don't want to do, but then be successful and hire the people that love to do what you hate to do.
The other stuff.
Right.
Outsourcing. We're going to outsource.
Right. Or partner,
I'm
have
a
partners
big
like
fan of that
yourself
too.
that you can work together in your own wheelhouses.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think what's great about your learning system there at RNegade is that it gives an opportunity for nurses to come in and really start to explore, and learn in a different way that is right there a lot at their fingertips, right, or in front of them. So it's great. But so just in wrap up, I want you everyone to know that if you want to learn more about RNegade and of course the life care management classes that are on the RNegade platform, which is what is life care management, which actually makes up 3 classes in a one video. And then the benefits of becoming a life care manager is a separate class also found on RNegade.pro. And if you want to take a deeper dive and check out more about the team and their core values, just go to RNegade.pro. And thank you guys for joining us today, and feel free to follow us and learn about us and follow our online courses and connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So you can stay up to date on what's happening on our end. And I'm sure you guys also, you can have followers through your social market as well on Facebook, LinkedIn, and such. So anyway, thank you again for joining us. We look forward to seeing what you are going to continue to roll out with RNegade. And let us know of any last parting words if you have it. Otherwise, we'll just say goodbye, I guess.
You know what?
We're just happy to have you on Life Care Mavericks.
Yeah.
I'm not changing.
Life Care Maverick.
What I would parting words for me are, I have been so impressed with the two of you. So kind, so patient, so collaborative. It's been such a treat to have you guys and to work with you guys on RNegade. You guys are model Mavericks. Good job.
Aw,
Yeah.
thank you so much. We
Yeah,
love
this is really fun.
collaborating. That's what it's all about. I think with our backgrounds both in life care planning, which is a very collaborative model, is kind of helps play out, pulling in that expertise from the years and bringing it
Yeah,
forward.
and even inviting us on this, all boats rise, and it's just I can't wait to see how much more we can all do going forward.
Yep.
I'd like to say just kind of one thing to what Antra had mentioned about working with you guys, and what I had seen in reviewing your videos and your content is showing nurses the world don't know exists is pretty awesome. Showing them a world outside of the typical maybe 3 12-hour shifts or whatever the case may be, is pretty fun too. And there's a whole world that exists outside those hospital walls. Not to degrade anything about that, because I miss the hospital a bit right now. But there's a huge world, and nurses are and like you were saying, this is the decade of the nurse right now. We're taking the world by storm, and we're saying, no, we're done being in this little box.
Yeah.
We're more educated and more capable than anyone thinks possible. So let us do our thing and stand back.
Stand back.
Nicely said.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Y'all suck at this and you're fired. We'll take it from here.
Okay, you guys. Well, good luck to you guys at the RNegade team, and kudos to those working in the background that aren't here with us today, because I've checked out your website. There's a lot of other team members that have helped you. So anyway, thank you for taking the time to help everyone get to know you a little bit, and hopefully it'll help them check out RNegade.pro. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.